What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys have had a great day and a safe day. Today we're talking about the brand new Batman film, The Batman. So The Batman was released yesterday in theaters worldwide, and it's directed by Matt Reeves and stars Robert Pattinson as the newest incarnation of the Caped Crusader. And this film, Batman has to go up against the Riddler, the Penguin, and maybe even team up with the likes of Catwoman to figure out what's going on with the underworld of Gotham City. So the biggest question everybody's going to have immediately is Robert Pattinson's Batman good? And the answer is yes. I think that is good. Now, they've done something here that is different, but also still feels like it could be Batman. And I think that this film does that incredibly well. The first 10 minutes of this film perfectly set the tone and the mood for the next 2 hours and 55 minutes of the movie. It's crazy to see how somebody can still come up with fresh and new ideas for this character after we've had so many different incarnations of the character, and I think that that's one of the things that this film does the best, is this definitely stands out amongst all the other Batman films. I remember when I was watching it, I remember thinking, wow, this is like a film, because this is a deeply layered film. It's excellently written. It is really at its core a detective noir film, which I don't think most people were expecting. I remember sitting in my seat, I was enjoying the film, but there were a lot of kids in the theater last night when I watched it, and a lot of these kids started to get bored. First of all, the film is like 3 hours long, so that's a long period of time to try to capture a kid's attention, and there are long sections of the film where there's not a lot of action. It's a lot of intrigue and mystery and dialogue and figuring out things and detective work, and that stuff is really interesting because it shows off a different side of Batman that we haven't got to see yet. But I know that a lot of people might be disappointed by this because when you walk into the film thinking, oh, it's Batman, it's going to have a lot of epic fight scenes, and at its core, like, there's still fight scenes in the film. There's still really awesome action sequences. But at its core, this isn't like an action Batman film. This is a detective noir Batman film where we're discovering a lot of uncovered information about Bruce Wayne and the Gotham City and a lot of the officials and people that are supposed to be in charge, who are supposed to be good people, but that we find out are corrupt, and that is the Riddler's master plan. The Riddler is the main antagonist in this film, and I think it was done excellently. What they've done is try to take everything that was in the Batman universe and make it realistic, but different from the Nolan films, and I think that they accomplished that, because the Riddler here obviously takes inspiration from real-life cases like the Zodiac Killer, and it made for an interesting concept, because when Batman has to go up against this person, we don't really know what this person's capable of. There's a point in the film where I'm genuinely thinking the Riddler might have just beat Batman. And I don't think I've ever thought that in a Batman film. There's a lot of great casting on the board. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, first of all, makeup department deserves recognition and an Oscar nomination. Because if you look up the Penguin from the Batman, it looks nothing like Colin Farrell, so they did a fantastic job at that. Andy Serkis as Alfred is good. Catwoman is good, and the character that I really loved was Commissioner Gordon. Seeing him and Batman team up and figure things out together was a lot of fun to see, because we always see Commissioner Gordon and Batman talk and kind of work together, but in this film, they literally go out together and fight crime together in certain sequences, which was a lot of fun to watch. Perhaps the most exciting sequence of the film, action-wise, was the Batmobile sequence. And there was something about seeing that car rev up. It was insane. And if you like cars, if you like anything to do with cars, it's pretty awesome. Then we get this really epic chase scene between the Batman and the Penguin. You've seen that in the trailers, if you've seen the trailers, but it's very well done. It's not necessarily a chase scene like you would expect. It actually has some comedic moments to it, but it is a badass action sequence. And really, everything to do with Batman fighting is just incredible. Batman lurks in the shadows a lot. He even talks about early on in the film how he can't be everywhere all at once, but by striking fear into criminals, because they think he's in the shadows, that he's still kind of everywhere. I like that concept because we've heard of it before, but now we're actually seeing it as, for example, a criminal is like spray painting something, and his can like falls into the darkness, into like the shadows, and he just looks down there and is like, well, I guess I'm not getting that back. When Batman does show up and he does start fighting, there's something about this Batman's fighting style where it just seems raw and aggressive, and he gets hit, and you can see the bruises on Robert Pattinson's back whenever he has a shirtless scene. He absolutely can kick ass, and he's capable of doing it, and it was really fun to see. And he gets inventive with the way he fights. And I'm not going to spoil too much here, but he gets inventive with the way he fights at times, and it's really fun and exciting. And when you punch, maybe it's just because I was in a theater, but when he punched, it like I felt it. It was like, holy crap, he can punch really hard. But one of the most important aspects of the Batman character is Bruce Wayne, and trying to figure out where that line is between Bruce Wayne and Batman. So Robert Pattinson does an excellent job here by making this younger version of Bruce Wayne. I mean, he doesn't care at all about his legacy. He doesn't care at all about Wayne Enterprises or anything like that. He cares about being Batman, and he talks about being a nocturnal creature, and he has to keep a journal of his days to keep his days in line because he can't remember things, and he has to wear contacts that record everything he sees so that if he misses something, he can go back and watch it. And he plays this really smart and calculated person, but he also has this haunted side of him where you can tell certain things still just bother him, and he has a lot of ghosts in his closet, and he portrays that extremely well. This is a side of Batman that I haven't seen before. You know, Ben Affleck tried to do some of it. Most of his haunted scenes were like he would have a nightmare or something. But this Bruce Wayne with Robert Pattinson, just seeing him in scenes where, you know, like he's supposed to be out in the open, he's supposed to be Bruce Wayne, but you can tell he just doesn't care about being Bruce Wayne. He's just Batman without the suit, and it was interesting to see, and I liked his performance a lot. The only thing that could make the film more exciting was the soundtrack, and the soundtrack was incredible. I loved every second of it. That opening main theme was really hard-hitting, and I think it'll go down as one of the most iconic Batman scores ever. I think that the villains were all very well thought out. There's even some surprise villains I'm not going to spoil here. But everybody was well thought out. They all had a place. They all made sense because this is Batman within his second year of being Batman. So we don't have his entire rogues gallery yet. But what we're doing is we're getting the foundations of it. And so we get the Penguin, we get Riddler, we get Catwoman, and sort of getting reintroduced to those characters in a new and fresh way was a lot of fun. And what I liked was that the film didn't waste time trying to explain everything about the Batman universe. It kind of assumes that if you're watching this film, you've at least seen some of the other Batman films. So it doesn't show why he's Batman. It doesn't show, you know, how he trained like Batman Begin does. It doesn't, you know, it's really just all about this particular case and trying to stop the Riddler, which then leads down this rabbit hole of him just uncovering all this dirty secrets and corruption within Gotham that was bigger than anything I think he ever expected. And it made the Riddler, in a way, a vigilante as well, because what the Riddler's doing is he's killing off these people that have connections to corruption, to Gotham. It's like these politicians that claim to, well, we're going to give you all of this, and then they just never do. And the Riddler's like, well, it's time that those people pay for their crimes, and they answer for what they haven't done. Which was really interesting because, in a way, like, killing people is bad. You know, committing serial killings is bad. And so you don't agree with why he's doing it. But you understand sort of what he's doing. He's exposing these people that claim to be Boy Scouts and that claim to not have an inch of dirt on them, and that they're, you know, he's just exposing them. And in a way, that's really interesting. And it not only leads us down a path to figure out more about this version of Gotham, but also leads Batman to understand more about his own past, which I thought was really well done. I still think that there was a couple of sloppy lines, but like not much, you know. I'm trying to find something that I could critique. There's a couple of lines I was like, well, that could have been a little bit better. And this is a 3-hour long film, so I think you do feel the 3 hours. Like, when I walked out, I wasn't like, wow, that felt like 2 hours. I was like, wow, that was 3 hours, but it was really good. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's paced excellently. I was interested the entire time. Nothing took me out of the film. It's a 3-hour long film. And so if you don't want to sit down and watch 3 hours of Batman doing detective work, maybe this isn't the film for you. But I think that this is a film that separates itself from other superhero films by feeling like a film. Like, this feels like something you would have watched in like the 50s or the 60s or something, you know, one of these crime noir films where it's black and white. It feels just like that, and it's featuring Batman, which is awesome. I don't have much to hate on this film. I don't think it's a perfect film. I do think The Dark Knight is slightly better, but this is an excellent entry in Batman's catalog, and it stands out as a unique film of all the Batman films. So if you want to see something fresh and new that's not your average superhero film, I definitely recommend going to check out The Batman, because it is very well done. It's an excellent film. I'm going to give The Batman a 9 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have you watched The Batman? Let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to hear what you guys have to say. Get a Pepsi Wire at it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.